Have you ever wanted to just slow down, take a moment to breathe, maybe light a candle and just not think about anything? That's all Michelle Simmons wanted when she founded Slow North. But unfortunately, she couldn't find a candle that didn't burn toxic fumes. So Michelle's with me today. I'm so excited to meet you. And I just want to let you introduce yourself and tell us about Slow North.
Thank you so much, Renee. I love that intro, by the way. I haven't heard it put that way. It's like, yeah, that's all Michelle wanted to do. Yeah, so on that note, I did. I started Slow North 9.5 years ago. I was at home on maternity leave with my son. So I had a newborn baby. And as you do, I mean, I was already green tending, like looking at everything I was bringing in. But I think I kind of had like a hyper lens on then to like really evaluate all the ingredients and different things that we were bringing to our home and exposing us and this new little baby to. And candles was definitely one of the top offenders for me because I love candles. So we had just stopped burning them all together. And yeah, and so that was like the impetus for starting Slow North. I was like, let's see if we can, launch a brand of candles that is all natural, essential oil based, and is transparent. Like you see what's in it. So you're not guessing like, well, what all chemicals are hidden in the term fragrance oil, and so that was kind of the basics of how we started, why we started. And from there, we've grown Slow North into more of like a natural living brand. And we've expanded into other categories that are aligned with my values and interests. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the fact that you've been doing this for 9.5 years like that, I know 10 years is kind of that
Yeah.
real golden moment of like, wow, we made it. What's the journey been like? Like, how did
Yeah.
you do that? It's
Yeah,
fantastic.
yeah. A lot of perseverance, right? I feel like you have to, yeah. So we started, I mean, I was still working. I went back to work. I was working a 9 to 5 job doing outside sales, completely unrelated industry. I was in new construction, and so I started having these little pop-ups and markets on the weekends and presenting our candles, getting feedback. And I slowly was getting really good feedback and just had some organic growth. We like found a little wholesale customer nearby that wanted to have my candles in her shop. And I'm an entrepreneur at heart. I've started a bunch of small businesses. I've had a photography studio. I've always done extra things. And so when I was getting the feedback that this may be something that I should pursue, I kind of like went in on it. And so after we had a couple of wholesale accounts, I felt comfortable leaving my job. My husband still had a job, so we weren't like, jobless. But so while I worked full time on growing Slow North. And so yeah, we were making all the candles out of our house at first. And then we were able to, like 2 years later, I sublet the front of a little retail shop and was able to pour candles and make them there. And just there's kind of just been this like wheel spinning of interest and popularity of our products, which is amazing. We're located in Austin, so it's like a very supportive, like creative community that is really excited about supporting small businesses, thankfully. And so yeah, we've been at our retail shop for 7 years. We now have a separate location that our team here in Austin pours and like makes everything that we sell. And that's kind of been the evolution of us. We just like started in my house and now we're out of my house. Thankfully, we made the leap. Yeah, but it's been a rocky road. I mean, a lot has happened in the last 9.5 years. So happy to talk about any of it. Yeah.
That is so inspiring, actually, just to see that steady growth. I've been to your shop. I used to live in Austin for a long time,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
I just love the warmth and I don't know, it's very airy and light, and it just
Thank you.
feels good to be in there. And I know that you also, or at least you used to teach classes. Are you still doing
Yes.
that?
And that was one of the so truly, I mean, other than I was pregnant with my second son at this point, like after 2 years of the business. And other than we were living in a little bungalow with like one bathroom, so our team members would come in and like use our microwave and use our one bathroom. And I was just feeling like, oh gosh, I'm gonna have a newborn. Like this feels very intimate. Like I kind of would like a little separation from work.
I
So
love
then we
you,
found
but
yeah, I mean, like, and so that started prompting me, but also I was invited to come into a shop it was one of our stockists, and she invited me to teach a candle making class to her customers. And I was like, this is so much fun. Like this, what a dream would it be if I could have a more public space, not my home, that I could invite community into. So yes, as soon as we opened the shop 7 years ago, we absolutely had the workshop component and we still do. And it's a really popular part of our like local brick and mortar. We teach classes 4 days a week. And yeah, it's just, I feel like everyone's craving more of an experience to have together. And in our classes in particular, you blend the scents. So you leave with a signature blend that you create with essential oils. It's not just pouring one of our own scents. And so I think just like getting people off screens and making something with their hands, it's been a real success. So yeah.
I can imagine it must be incredibly therapeutic and
Yeah.
just, that, like you say, to take that time for yourself to be off screen and, doing something with your hands and doing something that, is so unique to you.
Mm-hmm.
I bet that's great. You also
Mm-hmm.
mentioned community, and that's one of my favorite themes is
Yes.
how
Yeah.
are we able to build community in this crazy world where we have been isolated so much?
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about your community and how you tend to foster that.
Yeah. So, I mean, of course, there's like the online community, like Instagram and Facebook and all that. And so that is a good way for us to spread the word, about events and things. But it's in terms of like people that are in Austin that can come to our in-person events, we love hosting in our space. We organize like maker markets, pop-ups for emerging brands and people that, are just like how I was 9.5 years ago, trying to like get out into the world and get some in-person feedback on our products. And so we've had those throughout the year. We also have hosted like community speaker series where we bring in experts on different fields. We've had like, like spiritual teachers, and like we have a functional medicine woman that came in and talked about pain. And we've done some of those virtually and in person. I feel like anything that's aligned with just like the slower living lifestyle that I want to try to like encourage people to move towards, I mean, our tagline a long time ago when like hashtags were a thing was like one small change. And so I feel like that's the approach that I take to our brand. It's just kind of the messaging of not being, like I don't want to be pretentious or something like, like you have to make all these changes at once, like little changes, like little shifts, and then feel the huge impact that can make. And then you'll feel, you have some momentum and like, oh, like I feel better. Maybe I should try this and that. And it kind of like leads you down this journey, or at least that's been my experience of like the world of wellness, because it can feel a little far away, I think, when it's like completely new to you, and so I'd like to offer that bridge to people.
That is so
Yeah.
fantastic. I think the idea of not just you're just like trying to build your brand and make your candles the most famous in the world, but like, how can I help other people learn how to make candles? And how can I share what I've learned and know? I mean, to me, that is wellness. That is how we take care of ourselves. It's
Right.
not just me, but what do I have to offer other people? And I'm so
Yeah.
inspired by that. Thank you.
Thank you. And like using our platform, like I'm thankful to have organically built a little bit of a platform, so like how can I like lift others up and shine spotlights on them too? I recently just started a weekly, well, or semi-weekly, depending on how my weekend has gone. But I like sending out a note now on Sundays called the Sunday Pause. And it's less of like, here, buy my candles. It's like, these are the resources I found this week. And this is a cool podcast and this book, and just kind of like more well-rounded, I don't know, tips and things that I've discovered that I'm like, hey, maybe if you're interested in the same kind of lifestyle, you might like it too, or please share with me. And so I'm trying to open up a little bit more dialogue with our community that isn't just in Austin, so that we can share those resources with each other.
Great. I love that.
Yeah, thanks.
I'm wondering if, is there anything else or more that you want people to know about how your candles are different, or all of your products are different from what you just find? A lot of people might not understand how can candles be toxic.
Definitely. And I, how do I want to say this? So like, I feel like now there have been some like more prominent podcasts and like experts on talking about it. So I feel like it's increasing in popularity, which is amazing. 9.5 years ago, it was less so, right? And so one of the premises of what I do is like everything is transparent. I want to make sure our products are only scented with essential oils. We don't use any artificial fragrances. So you see what's in it. So if like, you have an allergy to geranium, you're not going to buy a product that has geranium oil in it, So everyone knows what's in our products. We lean into sustainable materials. We ship plastic free. So like there's a lot of just baseline parameters that we use whenever we decide like, is this a good product for Slow North to create? Another really like popular collection that we've launched are our weighted neck wraps and eye masks. And those traditionally might be filled with like plastic beads or, something that at the end of its life, you're like, well, what do I do with it? And how's this going to impact the world that we're living in? And so ours unscented dried lentils. And so everything like they're, cotton and linen fabric. I mean, I just down to every detail that I can, we try to like question like, okay, if we have to use plastic or something, like, is it truly because it's the only option? Like an example would be a linen spray and the top of the linen spray, but the bottle is glass. So stuff like that. I mean, it's small, small little choices that we make, but I think it impacts the overall brand that we're trying to create for everybody.
And I love that the idea of transparency, but also that you're thinking about all these details. That gives me so much. It's a relief, right? I've got so much else to think about. I don't want to have to think like, I don't know what it's filled with, or these plastic. Can I put it in the microwave? Like, what is going on here? So that you have already thought about that is really.
Thank you. Yeah, I do get a sense of that when people walk into our shop. It's like they know it checks a lot of boxes, and then depending on their level. I mean, a lot of people love our candles, and then they discover they're scented with essential oils. You know what I mean? It's not like everyone buys from us only because it's essential oils, and so that's a cool discovery for them to make. You're like, hey, and it's better for you, so win-win.
Right. Yeah. Well, and I think that's another thing that a lot of people aren't as clued into maybe is what, if it says fragrance, is that bad, or what is the fragrance versus essential oil sort of?
Right. So fragrances, I mean, there's like a hormone disrupting component to it. For me, I feel like it's like an ethical, like transparency component to it. Like just because, I mean, there's a big conversation around this, especially now, like everything being put in food and products, and just like, it's kind of like, why, like it's really difficult to go to a traditional grocery store and like find a shampoo or conditioner that doesn't have some sort of artificial fragrance in it. And I'm real conscious of it because I'm trying to like find things for our kids, and like, why do I want to slather them with things that I know disrupt hormones based on science? Like there's studies around it. And so I think just moving away from that to more naturally scented, if you want scented, like a natural scent, or unscented. I mean, I don't know. It's an uphill battle, I feel like. But I think the more that people are aware that of like reading the lists of ingredients and questioning like, well, why is all this in here? I mean, we choose like our linen sprays, there's something, we could do like polysorbate 20 or something that would be an emulsifier to make the essential oils blend seamlessly into our base. Alternatively, we recommend people just shake it. You know what I mean? Like it's going to be fine, like without the extra chemicals. So I think just little nuances like that.
Yeah.
Are important to be.
Yeah. And the raising the awareness, right? Like you don't have to give up your favorite toothpaste or whatever.
Right.
But if you knew what was in that toothpaste, you might, sort of think twice about it in some cases.
Like one small change, like a couple things. Yeah. Like let's, pick, okay, I love this one, whatever, hairspray or something, but like everything else I'm putting on my body, I'm like really conscious of. I mean, I think, isn't it just like the goal is to like reduce our overall toxic load, right? So, I mean, we're not perfect. You don't want to live your whole life like obsessing over things, because that adds a whole different stress to you that like, is also unhealthy. And so I think I approach it like there's a balance. I think probably for my sanity too, but at least I feel good about the products we're creating and putting into the world, So I think that's what you have to, lean back on.
Gives you your own peace of mind, but then also help.
Yeah.
And I think it, that one step better, right? Mm-hmm. Nobody used to recycle at all. And now we know like, recycling is important, but we're also realizing like, well, reuse is even better, right? So when you can, try to reuse or, that circularity. So that's
yes. I wish you were still in Austin. We just launched a really exciting thing in our shop. We're doing the candle refill bars where like it's not a class, but you just bring in your empty vessel and you refill it. I
love that. That is so
for exactly this reason. Yeah. It's like if someone's loving our candles and they're like, but I have 10 vessels now at home, bring them back in. Let's fill it back up. Yeah.
Good for you. That's a great program. I think you touched on this a little bit, but I wanted you to expand a little bit on your mission and your sort of long-term vision.
Yeah. So I think I started thinking we are going to be a candle company. And as we've grown and progressed and found, like a need for other products in the space, I think our long-term vision for Slow North is truly to be more of just like a natural living brand that encompasses all things like that help you slow down and connect. And so is it like lighting a candle at night? Is it relaxing with a neck wrap, like cozy on the couch, talking to your loved one? Just all these ways to like kind of get back into your body, slow down, and know that you're not, like I said, adding to your toxic load. You're just like, trying to like reset a little bit. So I kind of have zoomed out, and it's more of like the feeling that I want Slow North to impart on people that come across our path. And, in terms of like actual growth or like where our business is heading, I think similar to where we are. I love the teaching classes aspect. I love having like a local space for people to visit. Most of our customers, though, are actually outside of Austin. Like a lot of our business is national, some international, and so I see that as like an area for us to build kind of like more community building around. And I don't know exactly what that looks like. I have a couple things in the works, but something to kind of bring us all together in more of a national way. Yeah.
That's fantastic. I'm excited to hear about that.
Right.
I look forward to learning more.
Thank you.
Let's see, the idea of slowing down and taking a minute to, kind of take care of yourself. I find that that's the most compelling message for me is with everything that's going on. And I mean, everything is it's crushing right now. And to realize that like, hey, the only way I can deal with that is to deal with this and to start with take a breath, get back into your, positive mind space and then figure out what do you need to do, right? Like, I think we all have things we can do and things that are important to us. And I mean, like you started with, I need to make sure my son's not breathing toxic fumes, right? Yeah. We all have things that are really important and valuable to us, but we're going to be so much better off if we think about ourselves first. In terms of taking care of ourselves, and then we can do a better job of taking care of all those around us that we love. So
yeah. And I think especially as women, I mean, I think just remembering that and not, I feel like that's a really big conversation right now, all the responsibilities, and I feel like pressure just from all the ways that we receive pressure to be a certain way and do a certain thing and like carry all of this mental load. Yeah. And so, it isn't a coincidence that most of our customers are women looking for ways to like unwind and slow down. And so, yeah, I'm here for it. Exactly what you said. I completely agree.
Fantastic. Yeah. Yay. We're in this together.
Yeah. Right. It's good. Let's connect. Yeah. That's good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So on that vein, tell me about your self-care routines and what really kind of recharges you when you're overworked or stressed.
Yeah. So I have 3 boys now, end of this story, and I'm done, but we have 3 boys. They're 9, 6, and 4. So and the business, it's a busy household and life, very full, lots of love, lots of chaos. And so I think I've noticed, over the years, like the way I've handled stress has definitely evolved. And I feel a lot better about how I do it now versus like before I had as many tools, but personally, I love coaching. I love therapy. I love, like any like spiritual work, things that I can like fast forward my growth to like help me get that help quicker is like, I'm all here for it. And so, I've done a lot of that kind of work over the years. And I think now I know how important my diet is, like eating. I can notice so significantly how much better I feel, how much more patience I have, like my regulation. I think about a lot of times like me being like, the sturdy leader, no matter what room I'm in, like if business is, going downhill or, whatever's happening, I'm like, okay, like someone needs to step into this, like calm the waters kind of role. And so I try to do that as much as I can. Of course, other things happen sometimes, but at least I'm thinking of it. I think just even having the awareness of like how much what you're stressing about and like working yourself up into like all this like anxiousness around is in your control, because the thoughts like actually like, send all these hormones. I mean, your body thinks that like you're under attack just because of the thought loop that you can get into. And I think so as I've grown up, I think that like learning that about myself has helped a lot in terms of how I approach business, family, like any life stress that comes along. And so I hope that that's evident to people that interact with me, but I've done a lot of work on it, and, there's always work to do. I'm like a lifelong student. So I think that's really exciting, just that there's like more tools to like put in your tool belt. Practically, like actually like things I do. I'm going to plug a product right now because I love our neck wraps. I heat those up in the microwave and I just like snuggle in bed at night, like settle in. I feel like the weight is just so grounding and the heat. So that's like a nice, just quick, practical tip that can help. Does that answer some of your questions?
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
Okay.
And you hit on, I think, I don't know if it's the secret value or the true value of your self-care, taking care of yourself is the clarity, right? I think that when we're under stress, when we feel like we're under siege, in my mind anyway, just like scrambles. And I'm like, and
Yeah.
I think that a lot of times it's by design. People in power or people that are trying to sell us something don't want us to think clearly about like, do my wrinkles really make me
Right.
undesirable? Right? Like, is that really
Right.
important or is there something else? So to be able to like have clarity is how you have power. That's how you
Mm-hmm.
reclaim your power is to
Mm-hmm.
be thinking clearly.
Mm-hmm.
I also think about you talked about like kind of dealing with stress and stuff like that. It's curious to me how women ever got characterized as the weaker sex because it's so false. It's not true. But
We
we
were very
also,
capable.
you try having a
Yeah.
baby.
Yeah, like it's I just yeah, like magical even. Yeah, no, there's a lot there. Yeah, I completely agree.
Yeah. So, and it's also important that we continue to think about our strength and what can we do to fortify ourselves. And
Yeah,
like you said, all the tools that you have in your toolkit are so important
definitely.
to keep you
Yeah, yeah.
strong.
And a lot of them are outside of they're free. You know what I mean? Like they're
Yeah.
just knowledge. It's like
Yeah.
books and different podcasts. And I mean, I feel like that, I mean, I feel like the self-care day gets a bad rap because it's like
Mhm.
I don't need like one spa day. I need like a whole year of support, right? Like that. So I don't want, I mean, we tease a little bit like, oh, spa day, but like truly, like that's not our mission. Like that, I know that my bath salts aren't going to solve your problem. Do you know what I mean? So I'm
100%.
so I'm here for like the bigger picture of what needs to happen for us to
Right.
feel grounded and, settled and living our fullest life. Like, isn't that why we're here?
And we try to incorporate that in our messages that we put out is like, you don't need any of these products. All
Right.
you need to do is to stop and take a breath and
Yeah.
think about yourself.
Yeah.
And the products are nice. Like you said, the neck wrap is really
Of course.
luxurious, but
Also, yeah, but like it's not
yeah,
the fix, I
right,
mean, and
right.
and I wouldn't want to misrepresent that ever. Like, I think
Yeah.
all of the inner work is the most important thing we can do. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, definitely. So tell me about what's next for Slow North. Again, you hit on this a little bit, but what's your big grand vision in the future?
Yeah. I mean, I played around this morning with a chat GPT prompt. It was like, tell me what Slow North looks like on the inside or something. And then it's like, now bigger, how they do those funny memes, like
Mhm.
more. And it like ended up with this like magnificent retreat center. Like, how did you know? So I feel like some sort of like experiential events or something around that vein that people could come and gather together from different parts of the country and have an experience together that is rooted in Slow North values. I think that would be amazing. It would be a few years away, but in the meantime, more collaborations with like I'm looking for collaborations with businesses, maybe that want, if they're not going to like be a stockist per se, but they want to launch a collection, like let's launch one together that's a natural collection, that
Mhm.
you'll like we're putting more good out to the world. And so I think finding partners like that would be amazing. Personally, we have some shifts going on with our shop is going to like roll back into our studio in a couple months, which we've kind of hinted at. I'm really excited about it. It's going to keep us all under one roof again. So you're going to see where things are made. And so that's like on the horizon, like after Mother's Day timeframe. Yeah. And then I'm personally doing some business coaching for other maker like product businesses that are launching brands. There's good stuff happening. There's a lot good in kind of a rocky economic environment, like I feel like there's all you can always see the good. Got to keep your eye on that to keep us through all the other distractions that are going on.
Yeah. And again, I think those distractions are by design. Like if we can keep you scared and,
Yeah.
hovering under your covers, then you're not going to, be able to stop us as we take away all your rights.
Right. Yes. Yeah. So let's not do that. Yeah. Let's keep
Yeah.
on doing our thing.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
we talk about that a lot, like even within the team. I mean, nothing, of course things are changing, but like our core people, like nothing's changing here. Our policies aren't changing. You know what I mean? Like they can't, like, I don't know. So I feel very passionately about just like the way that we could touch the lives of those in our circle and holding that firm. You know what I mean? And like supported. So if people don't feel safe anymore, you still feel like everything's still safe here kind of an environment. And so that's important to me. And I think to you too. Yeah. Yeah.
It's so true. And,
Yeah.
how lucky are the people, your community, right, to have you. And it's not that hard to do, right? Like all we have to do is reach out to each other and say, hey,
Yeah.
I'm here.
Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah.
Let me know if you need anything, right?
Exactly.
So,
It's the same as it was,
yeah.
you know, like, yeah, exactly. Like our hearts are in the same place. So
Yeah.
that's not changing. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. Thank you.
Thanks.
Is there anything that I haven't asked or that you would like to add to this conversation?
Yeah. I think just in terms of like running a business, right? I'm sure you've experienced this. It's like you think back over the years and you're like, there's so many times that you could have given up. And it would have been really easy to be like, oh, okay, like this was the thing that, you know, like led us to closing or throwing everything up in the air. And I think for better or worse, it's like you don't get to be, you know, almost 10 years in business by being so headstrong about like, no, like you need that, like, you know, the world needs this. People, you know, it's like you want to be, I feel like if someone's listening that's like just starting a business or feeling like discouraged, you know, that latching on to like your bigger mission, like how we started this whole conversation that's going to be the thing. Like if I was selling something I didn't believe in or, you know, just kind of like lukewarm on, it would have been very easy to be like, okay, like that was fun. That was a fun 3 years, you know, and then whatever, like COVID happened or whatever, you know, and the world shut down and that was my exit. And so I'm really proud of the fact that we're still here, like we're still doing it. And hopefully as an inspiration, you know, to other brands of like, okay, we're going to hit a hiccup. We're going to find the support, find the resources, find, you know, a mentor, someone to talk to just to get extra eyes on it and find our way around this speed bump, you know, and just keep on going because like you said, the world needs more brands that are in the right place, right? Like their heart is in the right place. Money needs to flow more to those businesses, in my opinion.
That's right. Yeah. And that, you know, it's kind of, it's very tragic what's going on with the DEI and all the, you know, big businesses saying like, we're not doing that anymore. But it's also, wow, what an opportunity to be like, we are
to shine.
We still
Exactly.
support. And so that, you know, people are, you know, kind of in this chaotic moment right now. And to be able to be that tiny beacon, right? Of like, hey, there's a bunch of us that care and that will support, you know, the equity of, you know, where we live and what's going on and make sure that all voices have a chance to be heard and not just a handful.
So true.
So,
yeah, so true.
Thank you. Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you. Yeah.
Doing great work.
Yeah.